Hello, hello, my lovelies. It feels so good to be recording again. This is season 2. Wow. Honestly, I feel like the months have flown by very quickly. It's just unbelievable. But I'm excited. I'm excited to be back. And I'm sure that you're excited as well. So yeah, this is me saying welcome back to season 2 of the Growing and Becoming podcast. It's been an interesting couple of months for me. I've been up to a lot. I would say that the last couple of months have been the busiest for me in a long, long time. I've been so busy that my husband and I had to hire someone to clean the house. That's how busy we both have been. There was a time I just had to stop and just ask my husband, is this life? It seems ridiculous. Is this real life? Do people do this every day, all year, for many years, maybe even until they die? They just keep going and going and going, it doesn't stop. I wonder if other people even take time to slow down. It's been ridiculously busy. I mean, for many reasons, of course. Personally, I'm in the middle of a career pivot. So I've been taking extra classes, doing trainings. So imagine that after my 9 to 5, I'm doing a 6 or 7 p.m. to 10, 11 p.m. Sometimes I'm up till almost 1 a.m. I've been sleeping late. I've just been doing so much because I need to get ahead as well in my career. There's a whole other life outside my podcast that I need to really pay attention to. I mean, when season 1 came to an end, I didn't know I was going to get that busy. But then when I look back, I'm like, whoa, thank God I actually took the break between season 1 and season 2, because it would have been too much for me to handle all at once. So I'm actually glad that I had that space in between. Yeah, it's just been unbelievably busy in my life. And then my husband and I started a family business. And obviously when you're starting something new, you're doing everything by yourself. At least, for the first couple of months or years, depending on what you're doing or the level of your capital, we don't have money to employ people yet. So we're doing everything ourselves. We're doing the procurement ourselves, logistics, finances, admin stuff, operational stuff. Everything. We're just doing everything. Shout out to all the working age folks out there. Trust me, it's a lot. And then the people who have to take care of families, both nuclear and extended, meaning they have to work 5 times as hard. And even for those like me who are immigrants in another country, far away from home, far away from everything that they're familiar with, starting life from the very beginning. Listen, big ups to you. More grace to you, more strength to you. It's not easy at all. And I just pray that God will continue to help each and every one of us to make great strides in whatever industry that we are in or trying to break into. There is wisdom and direction for as many of you that are needing it. But one thing I will say is, please slow down. Slow down, take a break when you need to. In the last couple of months, I felt ill. And that's after I kept telling my husband, I haven't fallen ill since we got married. And then all of a sudden, my body just crashed, I would say. And this is after, the first time my body crashed was more of a mental exhaustion. But then my body experienced physical exhaustion. I was proper sick. But all in all, it's been beautiful as well. It's been such an interesting journey. Starting something new. I love process. I love process so much. So it's exciting for me to be starting something new. And in terms of my career as well, just going on that journey, it's filled with lots of uncertainties. I don't know what tomorrow holds. I don't know when I'll be landing my next big role or my first big role, I would say. Yeah, especially in a new career space. It's scary, but it's also thrilling at the same time. So I'm happy. I'm happy to be going through my own journey. I'm happy to be in my process. Because one thing I'm so confident of is when you put in the work, you will see results. Whether the results are coming in 2 days or a year or 2 years, you will see something. Something will change. There will be a shift. There will be a transition. No matter how little, something will happen. I'm just really happy for my journey and my experiences, and I'm looking forward to what the future holds for me in terms of career, and even more in terms of this podcast. This is season 2. It's so interesting how I've been able to stay consistent up until this time. Even while I wasn't putting out episodes, I was recording, and the recording experience has been humbling, to say the least. People have agreed to come on my podcast, sacrificing a lot from themselves. I'm like, why? I genuinely had to ask myself one day, like, who am I that this person is willing to put their whole day aside just to make it here? And I mean, my colleague literally traveled across cities to record with me. What? Honestly, it's been humbling to see the people that God has been bringing my way, people who have been so supportive. I really don't know what to say. I've had people come on here and be vulnerable. They've shared things about themselves that, ordinarily, some people will not be comfortable to do so. They've shared nuggets of wisdom. They've shared their life experiences just so that someone else can learn and not have to make the same errors, or someone else can learn and further develop themselves. And that's why this podcast exists. That's why I'll always show up. That's why I'll keep doing what I'm doing, because I genuinely believe that as a generation, we can do so much more in terms of nurturing our relationships. Yeah, that's another important life update. Oh, what else is there about my life in terms of my relationships? So because I've been so busy, I've realized that it's very, very, very easy for our relationships to be starved because a lot is happening in our lives. I mean, I know that I say it all the time, but when you are really in a phase of life where things are just hitting you left, right, and center, it's a different acknowledgement. Like, I've seen some of my friendships go days without any of us speaking to each other. And I'm like, this cannot be right. I've also had to take the back seat in some of my friendships as well. Because even with my business, I can tell you that the people closest to me have heard from me. They've not just heard from me, they are abreast with what's going on in my life. They are aware of the recent happenings in my life, at least to a very reasonable extent. Now, there are people that I think I should be very good friends with. But I found that I don't think I know what's going on in their life. That's because they're not opening up, they're not telling me anything, they're not putting in the effort to speak to me. And as you know, relationship is a two-way street. And so one really key thing that I've learned in the last couple of months in terms of relationships is that sometimes we have an expectation of a person based on the longevity of the relationship we have with them or the proximity. Because you can keep people in your life based on longevity, and you think, okay, we've known each other for a decade, so surely you're my closest friend. It doesn't work like that. And I've had to make the very difficult decision to say, wow, the longevity of this friendship is not synonymous to the authenticity of it or the depth of it. I don't know what to say. it was actually very humbling to come to that point in my life where I'm saying, you know what, maybe I need to let go of this fairy tale idea that because, someone has been in your life for a very long time, then they are supposed to be your closest friend. Well, not really. Maybe at one point you were that close and, over the years, the friendship still exists, but the bond, it's not there. And maybe it never was. But because of that familiarity, the proximity, the longevity, you think it was there, but it never was. And you're wanting it to be there. In your mind, it's there. Honestly, this is delusion pro max. Like, this is the worst kind of delusion I've ever expressed in my life. And it's just very humbling to say, I need to step out of this delusion. I need to step out of this bubble that I'm living in and face the reality. The truth of my reality is that longevity or proximity is not synonymous to a deep, genuine, authentic friendship or relationship. And you might desire it, but desiring it is different from the reality of what you have. And so I've had to take a step back and say, you know what? I've done my bit. And if someone is not going to carry the weight of this relationship, then the relationship does not exist. It does not exist. I mean, obviously, when I say the relationship does not exist, I mean the kind of relationship that you're desiring. And I've also gotten to the place where I now have to accept the relationship for what it is and not what my mind thinks it should be, or not what I've presented in my own head. I've accepted the relationship for what it is. A relationship where I don't know what's going on in their life. A relationship where calling me is not a priority. Reaching out to me is not a priority. So it's really important for us to not confuse our wishful thinking with reality. Don't be so deluded that you are looking at a relationship, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship, you're looking at it through the lens of an ideal scenario that you have painted in your mind, something that does not even exist. And now you're seeing somebody as something that they are not in reality, and your heart is breaking because they are falling short. So maybe it's time for you to actually see your relationships for what they are. Now, if you are not comfortable with what you are getting, by all means, let it go. Mind you, letting it go doesn't necessarily mean cutting off. It can just mean making peace with what it is and moving on, pouring yourself into the relationships that are also pouring into you, accepting whatever version of, this relationship that they are probably presenting. If you communicate that you want more and you're not getting more, I mean, obviously, if you want to quit talking to them, absolutely, you can, but then you don't always have to. You can keep it casual. But the whole point of this rambling that I've done in the last couple of minutes is to tell you that you need to step out of the delusion. All right? Delulu, my friends, is not the salulu when it comes to your relationships. I beg you. You need to take things as they are. I mean, obviously, when people have their bad days, you can discern, you can make excuses, you can extend grace, you can be patient with them, be forgiving, give them time. But I think we all know when a relationship has gotten to its end, or we are holding on for life. Now, a relationship that should have ended a while ago, you are extending it, you are dragging it. Don't do that to yourself. Stop hurting yourself. Put yourself first in this instance. Look after your own self and step aside. Step aside, especially after you've communicated what your expectations are. And if you are giving and giving and giving and you're not receiving, step aside. Do yourself that one solid and step aside. I really hope that blesses somebody. So yeah, please be expectant. Make sure that you don't miss any episode and make sure that you share the episodes. Rate the podcast, leave comments, do something, that will make me feel encouraged. Something that will make me want to get out of my bed every other day and know that people are indeed waiting on the other side of this platform And to be honest, there's so many changes about the podcast that I think you might find interesting. Well, change number one that I know a lot of people might not be very comfortable with, but I will no longer be doing YouTube video recordings for this podcast. So this podcast will stay strictly audio. I will try to put out videos from time to time, but yeah, it's just not something that I can balance with everything else going on in my life right now. I really want to excel in one thing. I really want to find my niche and stay there. I'm not really much of a YouTube girly yet. Maybe someday we'll get there. But yeah, I'm trying to make my YouTube more personal. So it will just be like day in the life, blah, 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 sharing a few tips and tricks here and there. But for the podcasts and the podcast episodes, it wouldn't be video recordings. Although I did record one video for one of the episodes anyway. So yeah, you might really enjoy that one. I'm going to do my best to edit it in such a beautiful way so that you enjoy the experience, because that might be the last that you get. I'm joking. It might not be the last, but just generally, I will not be recording episodes, or at least I don't plan to anyway. I know that some people might not be very happy about that, but trust me, trust the process. Trust the process. You're just going to have to make do with my lovely boys. But yeah, and then another thing that I'm introducing is mid-week episodes that will be funny and just purely entertainment and cruise and vibes. Generally, the podcast episodes will be very insightful and filled with lots of serious conversations. We'll do all of our sticky situations together. But then we will have episodes where it's just pure banter. We will just be bantering. And I'm really excited for that one. Maybe we'll do something where we can have like multiple guests on the episode, on the podcast, to just come and we'll just have crazy banter and just have a good laugh. Because laughter is medicine for the soul. But yeah, that's something that I'm also going to be doing in this new season, and I hope that you all enjoy it. Oh, and speaking of, I know that some of you haven't really been sending in your sticky situations because we've been on a break. But boys and girls, I'm here to tell you that it's about time. We're getting back into it, so feel free to share your sticky situations. Let's get the ball rolling. Share your sticky situations. Let's talk about any interesting experiences in your life or the life of anybody that you know that you probably would love to unpack and learn from. I'll be very, very happy to be your third eye. Yeah. What else is there to say, actually? Any housekeeping that we need to be aware of? I'll just say that please keep engaging with our social media. Oh, yes, in terms of a life update from me. I don't know if I've mentioned this before on the podcast, but I co-authored a children's book with a friend, and we have just started the publishing process, and I'm so happy. It's been such a long time coming. We started this project I think just when I was done with uni. Yeah, just about the time that I was rounding up uni. I think the year I graduated was when we started this project. And then obviously there have been breaks in between because I got married, blah, 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 just like life experiences from both our ends. But to think that finally this year the book will be dropping. So it's a mental education book for preteens or teenagers. And honestly, for anybody. An adult can pick up that book and learn about periods from reading it. Now, it's not very extensive. It's a picture story book. It's meant to be fun and short and interesting to just help preteens or teenagers who are new to the world of periods to get a quick understanding of what menstruation is. That's something that not a lot of us had while we were growing up. So imagine how much good you'll be doing for your nieces, your younger sisters, girls in your church, in your neighborhood, in your schools, your friend's child, whatever, your cousins. So it's very important that you buy the book and you gift it to a young girl. You'll be doing her a lot of good. One of the things we also tried to do with the book, in addition to creating awareness around periods and period positivity and explaining what that looks like, we've also made sure that the book is something that boys can pick up and learn from. So we've written the story in such a way that we've captured the lives of boys and how they view periods from their perspective. And then we put in some myths, some period myths, and we debunked them with facts. We are helping young people to strip themselves of whatever negative mindset that they have towards periods and then pick up more positive ones and just encourage all-around period positivity in society. But yeah, I think every young person, every young child would love this book, especially for my people of color. A lot of books like this are usually tailored to fit a specific kind of demography, but we've tried to make sure that there is representation for people who look and sound like me, people with names like mine, right? And yeah, I really hope that it blesses lives. I really hope that young people read it, young children read it, and they are educated and entertained in the process. Yeah, it's such a lovely book, and I'm really, really excited for it. It's one of many books that I will be publishing in my lifetime. I quite like writing, although the process seems to be stressful sometimes because I'm so meticulous and very detail-oriented. So what would take somebody 2 minutes to write could take me an hour. But whatever the case, I do like writing, and I know that I'll be writing more books in the future. My next book will probably be about relationships. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, watch out for that. I will let you know when it's available to buy online. And I'm really hoping that you will support your girl so that I can have money to keep the podcast running. This is just a quick preamble, a quick intro into season 2. I'm really excited for the next couple of months. The great conversations that we've had so far, we're still having. I'm really, really, really thrilled, really excited. But yeah, that's all for me. I have a wedding to attend in a few hours, so got to rush. Thank you, my loves, for staying till the end of the episode. I will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.